Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English a Long Way, where you grow in life and grow in English. I'm Alina.
And I'm Marcus.
Okay, Marcus, quick question. If I told you right now you can become fluent in English, fully fluent, without ever moving to the UK or the US or Australia, would you believe me?
Honestly, I'd say probably not.
See, that's exactly the problem.
What? It's a fair answer.
It is, and most people think the same thing. We have this idea that fluency is somewhere over there, in another country, on another continent, and the only way to get it is to go there, pack your bags, buy a plane ticket, and suddenly you wake up speaking English.
I mean, it does work, though. People move abroad and their English gets much better.
Yes, but does it get better because they moved or because of what they did after they moved?
Wait, is that a trick question?
A little bit, but think about it. We're going to talk about that today, and by the end of this, I think we're going to challenge something that a lot of people believe without ever questioning it.
All right, so the big idea today is that you do not need to live in an English-speaking country to become fluent. That's your argument.
That's my argument. Moving abroad is not the only way, and for most people, it's not even the best way.
Okay, come on. That sounds a little too easy. You're basically saying stay home, watch some Netflix, and you'll be fluent.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Because that's what it sounds like.
Marcus, I'm saying the environment is not the magic ingredient. The behavior is.
But the environment creates the behavior. If you're in London, you have to speak English. At the coffee shop, at the bus stop, at work, you have no choice. That pressure, that's what drives fluency.
You're not wrong about the pressure, but pressure is not the same as immersion, and immersion is not the same as improvement.
Wait, seriously? Those sound like the same thing to me.
Okay, think about this. How many immigrants live in English-speaking countries for 10, 15, 20 years and still struggle with English?
Some, sure.
Many, because living near English is not the same as actively learning English. You can be surrounded by a language and still build a wall around yourself. You go home, you watch TV in your own language, you call your family, you speak to your community. Location alone does not guarantee fluency.
Okay, that's actually fair. I've seen that myself. My uncle moved to Canada. He lived there for 8 years, and his English was average. He survived, but he wasn't fluent.
Exactly, because he wasn't engaging deeply with the language. He was just existing next to it.
But here's my problem with your argument. If you stay at home, no English pressure, no real conversations, no native speakers, how do you build the confidence to actually speak? You can know all the grammar in the world, but speaking is different. Speaking requires courage.
Yes, it does, and I agree with that completely.
So you're agreeing with me now?
I'm agreeing with the point, not the conclusion. Courage to speak, you can build that without leaving your country, but you have to build it. It doesn't fall from the sky just because you move. And by the way, I've met people who were terrified to speak English even after living abroad because they avoided it. They spoke their language at home, found their community, stayed comfortable. The country didn't save them.
Okay, so you're saying it's not about where you are, it's about what you choose to do.
Exactly. I still think that's easier said than done.
Let me push on this a little more, because I think this is the heart of it. What do people actually do when they move abroad that improves their English?
They speak every day to real people in real situations.
Right, they have conversations. They make mistakes in front of people. They hear natural, fast English every day. They get corrected, sometimes gently, sometimes not so gently.
Not always gently, no. And then here's my question. Can you replicate any of that at home today?
I mean, some of it. Online calls, language partners, movies, podcasts.
Almost all of it. You can have daily conversations with native speakers through apps and language exchange platforms. You can watch English content with no subtitles. You can work for international companies remotely. You can join online communities where the only language is English. You can even hire a private tutor from anywhere in the world for a few dollars an hour.
Okay, but that's a lot of discipline. Most people won't do all that.
And most people who move abroad won't do all that either. That's the point. The challenge isn't the location. The challenge is the commitment.
No way, I'd disagree. Moving abroad forces you. There's no hiding. When I moved to a different city for work, different language environment, different culture, I adapted fast because I had no option. You can hide at home. You always have the easy option.
That's a real point. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
But I'd argue that the people who do commit at home, who build their own immersion environment, they often do better than the people who move abroad and coast.
Coast, meaning they don't really try.
Meaning they expect the country to do the work for them. They think, I'm here, fluency will come, but it doesn't. Meanwhile, someone sitting in their bedroom in Karachi or Sao Paulo or Warsaw, watching English shows, speaking with tutors, reading books, thinking in English, that person is building something real.
I want to believe you, I really do, but let me ask you something uncomfortable.
Oh, here we go.
Have you ever personally seen someone reach a really high level of fluency without any time abroad? Not just conversational, I mean really fluent, comfortable, confident, natural.
Yes, more than once.
Really?
Really. And I'm not talking about rare geniuses. I'm talking about people who just built a consistent habit over years, an hour a day, every day for a long time.
An hour a day? That's actually not a lot.
It adds up fast.
Okay. I'm not fully convinced, but I'm listening.
Can I share something personal?
Please.
When I was learning, really working on my English, I was not living abroad. I was at home. And I created what I called my English hour. Every day for 1 hour, everything around me was in English. The podcast I listened to while cooking, the book I read before bed, the journal I wrote in English. Not perfect English, bad English sometimes, but English.
The journal thing is interesting because writing forces you to think.
Exactly. And after about 6 months, something shifted. I stopped translating in my head. I started thinking directly in English. That's when I knew the language was becoming mine.
That's actually a big moment, when you stop translating. I remember when that happened to me.
What was your experience?
Mine was different. I did spend time in an English environment, not abroad, but I worked with an international team online. Calls every week, all in English. And at first it was honestly painful. I would spend 10 minutes preparing what I was going to say in a meeting, and then someone would ask a follow-up question, and my brain would just freeze.
Oh, I know that freeze.
But over time, the freezing happened less, and I didn't need to prepare as much. And I think, actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, it wasn't about location, it was about repetition.
There it is.
Okay, I walked into that one.
You really did.
So let me try to steel man the other side for a second, because I don't want us to just agree too fast.
Good, please.
So there are things you really cannot replicate at home. Accent exposure, the way real people talk, is very different from taught English. When someone speaks fast, with regional words, with slang, with a mouthful of food at a dinner table, that is a different language from what you learn in class or on YouTube.
That's true.
And there's something about the full sensory experience, the feeling of being lost and then finding your way, emotionally, not just linguistically, that forces a deeper kind of learning. You remember things because you needed them, not because they were on a flashcard.
That's a beautiful point, actually, and I don't dismiss it.
So you agree, moving abroad has real advantages.
Real advantages, yes. Necessary advantages, no. There's a difference. A good meal has advantages. That doesn't mean you can't survive without it.
You just compared living in London to a good meal.
I did. Expensive meal, too.
Very expensive. That's actually another point. Moving abroad is not free. Visa, rent, flights, new life. For many people in the world, that is simply not an option. So if we say moving is the only path, we're telling millions of people that fluency is not for them, and that's just wrong.
Exactly. That's exactly why this conversation matters. Fluency should not be a privilege for people who can afford to relocate.
Okay, now we agree on something.
Progress. So let's talk about what actually works, because I don't want this to just be theoretical. If someone is listening right now and they cannot move abroad, or they don't want to, or they're just not ready, what do they do?
First thing, get into real conversations, not practice conversations, real ones with real pressure. Find a language partner, pay for a tutor, join an English-speaking community online, somewhere you cannot cheat by switching languages.
Second, immerse your passive time, your commute, your exercise, your cooking. Make that time English time. Podcasts, shows, audiobooks. Your brain absorbs a lot, even when you're not studying.
And by the way, passive input over a long time is hugely underrated. People think you have to be actively studying to improve, but just listening every day, even without full understanding, trains your ear.
Third, and this one people resist, start thinking in English. Even badly, even just for 5 minutes a day. Describe what you see. Talk to yourself while you walk. It sounds strange, but it rewires something.
I did this. It works. I used to narrate my morning routine in my head in English. Okay, I'm making coffee. The water is boiling. I don't want to go to work today.
That's genuinely fluency. That level of honesty with yourself in a second language, that's real.
Sadly real.
Before we close, I want to ask you all something. And these are real questions. Take a moment with each one. First, when you imagine yourself speaking English fluently, what does that scene look like? Where are you? Who are you talking to? Is that scene possible without moving abroad?
Take a second with that one. Really picture it.
Second, what is the one thing that is actually stopping you from improving right now? Honestly, is it your location or is it something else?
I think for most people it's not the location.
And third, is there 1 hour in your day, just one, where you could choose English instead of your first language?
1 hour. That's all.
Okay, let me try to land this.
Landed well. I'm watching.
We came in today with a big idea that you don't need to live in an English-speaking country to become fluent. And I still believe that, not because moving abroad is bad, it can be wonderful, but because fluency is built inside your daily habits, not inside a particular country's borders.
I came in a skeptic, and I'm leaving still a little skeptical. But I'll admit location is not the reason people become fluent. Behavior is. And behavior is a choice you make every day wherever you are.
The world changed. A person in a small town today has access to more English input than someone living in London 50 years ago. The only question is whether you use it.
And whether you commit to it. That's the hard part.
Always. But you're already here listening. That means something.
If this conversation helped you even a little bit,
Keep listening. Keep growing.